Hello students, today we will continue with the elements of new economic policy as we have already done in the previous lecture that new economic policy was introduced in 1991 and the elements of new economic policy were L, P, G. That means liberalization, privatization and globalization. In today's lecture, we will discuss about liberalization, what is liberalization and what were the changes that were brought due to liberalization in Indian economy. So basically liberalization, first of all we will do the meaning, what does liberalization mean? As we know that the word liberal means to be free or to set free or freedom. So in the economical concept we can say, in the concept of an economy we can say liberalization means to set free the producing units or the freedom for producing units freedom from which? Freedom from the control of government, the direct or physical control of government. So basically liberalization is freedom that was providing to the producing units. Producing units involves the producers of an economy from the control of the government, from the restrictions that were imposed by the government. Now which restrictions we will discuss? For example, industrial licensing, I will give you the examples of the control of government, the restrictions of government. First thing is industrial licensing. Second thing is price control. Another thing was investment by big business houses. Another example can be import license. Etc. So these were the restrictions imposed by government. Removing these restrictions means liberalization, to set free. Now which changes were brought due to liberalization in our economy, basically Indian economy? These can be classified as industrial sector reforms, second, financial sector reforms, third one is fiscal reforms, and the last one is external sector reforms. These are the various reforms which were introduced due to introduction of liberalization. So first of all we will discuss about industrial sector reforms. Reforms, as we already know, that changes that occurs. So industrial sector reforms have various points. First point is, as we have already studied, that there was a restriction which was named as industrial licensing, that every private individual have to ask for a license from the government, have to get a license from the government to set up any industrial unit. So the first change that we will study in industrial sector reform is abolition of industrial licensing. Now, the private industries were free to set up their units without having any kind of license. Only 5 industries were exempted from this. 5 industries were exempted from this. That means these 5 industries still have to get a license to start their industrial unit. These were like alcohol, cigarette, chemical industries, then explosives and similar industries. 5 basically industries were there which to whom it was made compulsory to issue license. Other industries were removed from the licensing criteria. Now the second one is contraction of public sector. This was the first industrial sector reform. This is second industrial sector reform, that is contraction of public sector. Now contraction of public sector means that 17, as we have already studied in 1956 to 1990, the strategy which was followed said that 17 industries were to be reserved for public sector. Later on it came down to 8, and as per the data of 2010 and 11, it remained only up to 2 industrial units which were reserved for public sector, and those 2 industrial units were atomic energy and railways. Depending upon the present situation, these may also vary, these may also change in the coming time period. So basically up to 2019 we have this data that 2 industries are still, 2 areas are still reserved for public sector, that is atomic energy and railways. So third kind of industrial sector reform is de-reservation of production areas. As per the strategy followed by the government to develop the industrial sector, there was a thing that some areas were reserved for small scale industries for the development of industrial sector in the economy. So this was also a reform that industrial areas were de-reserved. Now the producer can set up their industries wherever they want to allocate their resources. Next reform is freedom of import of capital goods. Import of capital goods, as in now producers previously had to take permission from the government to import various goods. Now they were free to import any kind of technology they want to. So these were mainly industrial sector reforms which were brought due to liberalization. Second kind of reforms we will talk about is financial sector reforms. As we know that our financial sector includes banking institutions, then non-banking financial institutions, stock exchange market, foreign exchange market. These are the financial sector, these are the elements of financial sector. So these are controlled by RBI. Previously RBI acted as a regulator. previously RBI act as a regulator for the financial sector. Now this has been changed and RBI now act as a facilitator to the financial sector. What do you mean by regulator and facilitator? As a regulator, RBI used to fix the rate of interest on the behalf of commercial banks. All the decisions were taken by RBI. And as a facilitator, that depending upon the changes which were brought, as a facilitator, RBI's main function is to facilitate the commercial banks and to give them the freedom of fixing the rate of interest by themselves. That is, whenever there is a condition of excess money supply or low money supply, they can change the rate of interest as per their requirement. So these were the financial sector reforms, and due to financial sector reforms, many foreign investors came to India for investment, and the investment was increased. Next one is fiscal reforms. As I already discussed that fiscal relates to the revenue of the government. So fiscal reforms may basically we study that reforms which were related to taxation system of India. When we say taxation system, there are two kinds of taxes. We know that direct tax and indirect tax. Direct tax, the person who is liable to pay the tax pays the tax, is direct tax, and indirect tax, person who is liable to pay the tax shifts his burden on the other person, is indirect tax. You will be very well known to the changes that has been brought in the indirect tax, that is introduction of GST. The slogan was one nation, one tax, one nation, one market, that is GST. So what this reform says, this reform is basically related with the simplification of the tax structure of the economy. If we have a very complicated tax structure, that means tax 1, 2, 3, there are lots of taxes which are indirectly levied on the different commodities that we buy. It directly leads to the evasion of taxes. Evasion of taxes means tax की चोरी, ठीक है. तो evasion of taxes, to remove this evasion of taxes due to many indirect taxes, there can be many evasion of taxes at different levels. To remove this, GST was introduced, that is making a simplified structure of indirect tax, which included many indirect taxes. And the last one is external sector reforms. External sector reforms also have two components. First one is foreign exchange rate and foreign trade policy. As per the external sector reforms, foreign exchange rate, the reform that has been brought in this particular area is that now government has set free the market forces to affect the foreign exchange rate of any economy. That means foreign exchange rate now depends upon the forces of demand and supply in market. Whatever the demand and supply, it affects the foreign exchange rate of any economy. That was they were set free to set that rate. And the second thing is foreign trade policy. Foreign trade policy said that the limits or the quotas or the tariffs which were levied upon different import and export commodities need not to be there. That means the limit on import and export which were put on several commodities. The reason was only one, that they wanted that all of the commodities which need to be imported should be domestically produced. To remove that particular thing, the foreign trade policy was changed and the quotas and tariffs were removed from those commodities. The main motive behind this was earlier expansion of economy was considered that growth should be with the expansion. Now survival of the fittest is considered. That means in a market, the industrial unit that produce commodities will only remain if it produce good quality products. That means market competition should be there. Growth should be with efficiency. So these were all the reforms which were brought in liberalization. Next we will continue in next lecture.